the former world champion, multiple British and International Open champion, but he will be giving away size. He will be giving away leverage in this clash. The man he faces, unfortunately, is one of the biggest natural welterweights in the sport today. Joseph Lovei is an absolute animal. Former multiple French champion, Swiss and Belgium Open champion. A man with massive leverage. You can see immediately as the guys set up at the table, Joseph Lovei in the green shirt with the huge advantage in terms of leverage. He's positioned his elbow much further back on the pad. In fact, Steve Rogers being warned, he's so close to the front. And Steve is trying to move forward on the elbow pad to give him that additional height and the additional leverage. He's trying to match Joseph Lovei. I think that's a bad thing. He's complaining about the height. The problem is for Steve, he won't ever get as high as Joseph because he doesn't have the natural genetics to do so, and he needs to be careful on the first start. It's all about the power for Rogers in blue. And taking a high grip with the Frenchman is probably a very, very bad move. The huge bicep of Rogers with world champion tattooed across it means that it's all about the power, not the leverage, and it's leverage for France that wins the first match. And if you can see on that start, look at the massive top roll attack, and to be honest, I think Joseph Lovei knew he had that one in the bag before the hit happened. Rogers was a little bemused after that start. He's been unwell this week. I think he may have been acting like a little ginger carrier monkey and infected myself because he's full of a cold. And some advice in the corner of Steve Rogers from Rambo, Rod Linnett, himself in action here in Armwrestling power play.
Now take the curve out. Take the curve out.
One thing that I would say there is that's a little bit better grip from Steve, but still his elbow position in his paw. His elbow too close to the front, he's no base, and the Frenchman is in control. Steve has at least managed to get into the match a little. Now he's gone to his tricep press. Rogers is massively strong. We will move into the strap. For those of you watching the sport for the first time, and the arms slip apart, a 1-inch nylon strap is placed around the hands and wrists of the arm wrestler. You can see the red nose on Steve Rogers there. I don't mean to make fun of the guy, but Steve really has been extremely unwell, walking around in the hotel this weekend. Hope it doesn't detract from his power too much, because this is an extremely proud athlete, a real warrior at the table, and massively strong, but he's in all kinds of trouble. Lovei has cracked him within ½ an inch of the pad, and Steve now trying to work back, but he's being baited, and he will not get his power down from there. You can see that Joseph Lovei's hand position is too superior, and surely Steve would be better to let this one go. Massive, massive power from the man from the UK. How is he hanging on to that? What a warrior. But you do wonder how much damage that's done. Look at the stretching of the bicep tendon on Steve Rogers. How he managed to hang on to Joseph Lovei in such a dominant position is amazing. Lovei, French national champion, brutally strong and extremely explosive. And you can see Steve there opened off his bicep. He's shaking with the effort, trying to finish. You can see the massive triceps on the right arm of Rogers, gripping the peg, trying to channel every ounce of his body strength into that match. But Joseph Lovei jumping all over the Englishman. Rogers red of face, and he's trying to hang on to it, but the only good that that's doing is it's making his nose stand out a little less, because in terms of his positioning at the table, he is in all kinds of trouble and lost the match there. And I'm very concerned for Rogers, because that will have done a tremendous amount of damage to the Englishman. As I said at the top of the broadcast, Joseph Lovei, originally of Hungarian descent, and he's got a Hungarian working in his corner. Robert Bogdan,
I went in a bit.
Heavyweight champion working in the corner of Lovei. Right now we see Rod Rambo working with Steve Rogers.
I want you to go from there to there.
Yeah. Away from centre. Good. Now rotate. Don't carve in, Steve. Don't carve in.
And Rogers needs something special. Needs to try and get that power down. That's a much better grip from Rogers, and now he can go to work. Rogers can get the power down. And although he is a bantamweight by trade, when it comes to power, Rogers punches way above his weight. He's like Wigan's little red-haired Rocky, and there's a pin. Steve Rogers, cause to smile. Uncle Stephen cracks a smile, hits the pad. He's back in this arm wrestling match. It's 2-1 France. Steve Rogers, usually you would get a loud, aggressive celebration. He looks out of breath, he looks tired, he looks withered. Time to smile though. A new feel for Steve Rogers. And it's a testament to this man's warrior spirit that he managed to pull one back there.
Rotate. Take this carve out.
And if Steve can get the power down, do not count him out at all. It's a very, very confident, very relaxed looking Joseph Lovei.
His wrist is leaning back.
Suggesting he may have made a technical mistake there. He's wrestling around Steve Rogers, not trying to mix it up for power, looking to utilise technique as an advantage. And again, he busts open the hand of the Englishman. The massive arm of Rogers trying to put into play there, but oh, it's a reversal from Joseph Lovei. The Frenchman takes it. And he was all over the hand of Rogers. You can see Steve Rogers shaking with the intensity there, trying to prevent the inevitable. His wrist is broken open, and Joseph Lovei's hand dominance there is ludicrous. It's just incredible that Rogers is able to hold him from that position. He has no purchase. It's like having a car with a giant engine and very thin tyres. He just cannot get the power down. And it's Joseph Lovei with the win. Looking good for France here in Great Britain at Arm Wars Power Play. Haymarket London, the Sports Cafe is the setting.
That's where you want to be, because what he's
Steve
doing,
Rogers
you're starting
blue.
low on the hand, right? So if you don't slice in,
he's moved up to the welterweight division. He's giving away size, he's giving away leverage,
like he did before, right?
and he has given away 3 pins.
Good talk.
He's won 1.
Yeah.
An animated Rod Rambo Lynette working in his corner.
Elbows down, close your hands.
2 very,
Just close your hands.
well, distinctly different characters, Lynette and Rogers.
Shoulders, Steve. Shoulders.
Rogers a man of few words and mighty
Don't
deeds.
keep your shoulder back out. Keep it there.
Rambo, on the other hand, is
rotate.
extremely animated, a real character.
Good.
Steve Rogers is certainly a character,
That's perfect.
or a
Wrist.
caricature
Wrist a little.
of a great
wrist
white
here.
shark.
This wrist.
And if
No,
he smells
don't
blood in the
carve in.
water and can get
Don't
the power
carve in.
down,
Don't carve in, Steve. Don't
Rogers
carve in.
is a handful for anyone. But right
Rotate,
now, as we head into pin 5, at least he's taken a better grip this time, Rogers.
Elbow back a little.
He's much lower,
And
but he's still
turn it
complaining
out
about the
a little
height.
bit more. Turn it out. Keep it
Rogers
there.
needs
Don't
to get the
move.
wrist
Ready,
in.
go.
If you see it lock into joint, and that's better from the Englishman. Now Steve Rogers may be able to get the power down. And he has done. Rogers now will start to go to work, driving down steadily. The short arm, the leverage kicking in from the Englishman. Now Rogers takes another pin. It's 2 pins, Steve Rogers. Steve, when he gets the power down, is from a different universe. Massively strong. And Rogers takes another pin. Can he level this match? I'm amazed he's still got anything in the tank after the second
I can't move.
Yeah, no, you can. Lift your weight off your elbow and just move it back.
Yeah.
No one can stop you doing that. And what happens then, he's moved, he's like this, goes like that, and then he's going long arm. Your long arm, you can drag it across. Your bicep's bigger than his bloody tricep. Stronger. Right? So what I'm saying is, get it to that same position there, and then what you do then, is grab up the hand grip, pull back to the edge, back of the pad. So start, cut the cock, you're cutting across the front, dragging back, and then obviously maintain that position.
Yeah.
And then once you get in that position there, that's when you put everything in. You got it. You got it.
Were you listening at home, ladies and gents? The advice from Rod Lynette. I don't know how much Steve Rogers would actually be able to do that. What Rod did forget there is that Steve, if he does drag back, will put more pressure on his own hand and wrist. And after that second pin, I'm personally very sceptical that he's got any strength left in the hand and wrist. His massive arm, massive tricep is the key to victory for me.
Okay, he's got to come this way for the center.
And I think he was, he had the right poison in the last match. He needs to drive forward, not back.
Keep it there. Ready, go!
Oh, Lovei initiates, and that's much better from the Frenchman. Now, Steve Rogers cannot get his wrist in. If you look at that, all the wrist bend is in the Frenchman. He's got a massive dominant position on the hand and wrist, and from there, I'm sure he will be able to break open Steve Rogers. The reversing pin surely will follow. Steve trying to get on the tricep now, but he cannot turn his wrist in. He's straight wrist tricep press, and Joseph Lovei, I'm sure, will manage to take this. He's in totally dominant position in terms of the hand and wrist. Rogers hanging on to it valiantly, but I do not think that he has got anything left for Lovei in that position, and Joseph Lovei works it to the pad. France with the win. Look on the replay, it was the initiation early by Lovei which was the difference between the two men. And Steve Rogers working hard, but he's looking at Joseph there. He knows he's being baited. He knows he's being weighted out, smoked out. And Joseph Lovei has a massive crank on that wrist. His back pressure is into Steve Rogers' hand. It's preventing Steve from bending his wrist, from channeling the power. And from there, all he needed to do was keep that back pressure on, and it was a matter of time. Imagine yourself in the gym lifting your maximum possible weight. How long could you hold it, ladies and gents? Maybe 20 seconds, maybe 30 seconds, but slowly, surely, it will burn you out. And that's the story of this pin. Joseph Lovei burnt through the Englishman, and he drove down for the win. 4-2 for France here in Arm Wars power play. An excellent attempt at a reversal from Steve Rogers there, but the fact of the matter was he ran out of hand and wrist, and Lovei drove down for the pin.
Aujourd'hui, je travaille autrement. À droite, je travaille ma puissance, la force véritable. Là, c'est plus technique. Je travaille avec sa force. Comme il a la main beaucoup plus petite que moi, je monte. Donc c'est ça qui fait la différence. Voilà, merci.
When the match went in, wrist on wrist, I felt better, not comfortable, but better. And I did manage to take one pin. But I ran out of steam. You know, this cold's not helped. I'm not trying to make excuses. Without the cold, I might not have eaten him, but the cold didn't help.
What a war, and Steve Rogers isn't making excuses. Anybody who's been around the man this week will know, but a war nonetheless. We are back and we are live at Arm Wars Power Play, the Sports Cafe Central London, and we go to our main event in the heavyweight division, and one that I'm super excited about on the right arm. Firstly, we welcome to the event Jimmy Cibola of Sweden. He is a multiple Swedish national champion, and this guy has a huge reputation in the sport of arm wrestling. Very technical, very aggressive, explosive individual, and he's making his debut in the Super Series against a very, very tough competitor indeed. That man is the cold Gregory Schneider. The heavyweight French national champion is a huge man, and he's a massively gifted technician. Schneider has a proven track record on the international circuit, super diverse, he can do it all, and he is going to be a major handful for anybody in this weight class.
Hi guys, my name is Greg Schneider. I come from France for the club of Links in Alsace. I'm overall champion of right arm on left arm. I want to pull Jimmy Cibola, the heavyweight number 2 in Sweden, but I am the number 1 in France.
Very endearing little interview piece from Gregory Schneider there. English is by no means this guy's first language, but he did about 6 or 7 takes to get that, I'm aware, and every credit to the man. I would never be able to do an interview in French. We go straight into the strap match. Evidence straight away of the explosivity of these two men. Cibola in green of Sweden, massive attack, tries to drive him with a shoulder press, but the posting top roll defense of Gregory Schneider is absolutely lethal, and he can hang on to a match with the best of them. What a technician this young man is. Really rolls that one out so effectively. Cibola trying to finish. Big drive from them. Oh, and I can tell you what, that was so close to an elbow foul there from Schneider. Nothing given, so, but if you, oh, he's transitioned into the tripod. It's tremendous. I was just about to say, look how close his elbow is to coming off the pad. Marginally, I actually thought I saw an elbow foul, but looking at the replay, possibly not. He was in a high-posted top roll. Cibola came driving at him, trying to get the tri-press in there, and I thought, wow, he's going to be very, very lucky to stay on the pad. But as Cibola transitioned, he was beaten to the punch by that move from Gregory Schneider. Swings behind his arm, and the French heavyweight champion shows why he's one of the most feared technicians on the circuit. Impressive stuff. Gregory Schneider, David Diouf working in his corner. Himself an excellent technician. These guys very close, training together, sharing techniques to beat that man. Jimmy Cibola. Reinvigorated Anders Carlson, who's been having an impressive weekend here in central London himself, is working in the corner of Jimmy Cibola.
Both happy?
Ready, go. Jimmy with a massive drive again. I love the explosivity of the Swede. A really entertaining arm wrestler, Jimmy Cibola. Very, very talented. Gregory Schneider. How does that man post his top roll so effectively? These long, rangy athletes are so dangerous. Look at that attack from Schneider. What a tremendous technician this lad is. Superb attack. And he's rolling the hand of Jimmy Cibola. He's exposed the Swede's wrist and hand. Jimmy drives, tries to get into the strap and will do so.
Get this way a little to the centre. Sure. You both happy?
The arms slip apart. This 1-inch nylon strap goes around the hands.
Ready, go.
Around the wrists. Cibola has been exposed early this time. He tries for his own top roll, but he's giving away probably a good 1.5 inches in terms of his leverage. And it's Gregory Schneider baiting him, waiting out, trying to expose his hand and wrist. Cibola though with the drive, and this is great side pressure from the Swede. Oh, how impressive. Jimmy Cibola is in a bad position and still he attacks and drives. What an impressive move. Oh, Schneider with his own transition. This is an absolute war. Fantastic wrestling from both men. Wow, what a match.
Jimmy Cibola is a good arm wrestler, but I think his arm is stronger than me. But in the fight, I keep the control of my wrist, you know. And I think his technique is a depth wrist press, you know, and I keep the control of my wrist. That's why I won against him.
I think that is a very, very fair assessment, and I can't emphasize enough how impressed I was with both athletes in there. As Gregory rightly said, the position on the hand and wrist was maintained by him throughout that match, which was why I was so impressed by the movement of Jimmy Cibola. He was forcing the match from a terrible position in terms of his technical standpoint. But ultimately, Gregory Schneider, as he did say, he maintained hand and wrist control, which is everything, and it paid dividends in gold. He reversed it and won the match. But this is what we call a screamer, ladies and gents. What a battle. Both men will really be feeling it. I would imagine Jimmy Cibola much worse, because in both of the matches he has been exposed on his wrist and hand. Cibola is a young man, he's pretty injury free and he's got massive endurance, and like all the Swedes, the guy loves to get into battles. Cibola with a huge drive, but again his hand and wrist are exposed. Oh, what a tri-press though! That's fantastic! Now that is impressive. Watch this from Cibola. Hits hard, loses his hand and wrist there, comes in with a tri-press, inverts Gregory Schneider, and nobody was more shocked than the Frenchman. What a win. Jimmy Cibola is on the card. Tremendous. First pin for the Swede. That was excellent from the young Swede. Fantastic move. He actually hit so hard he busted himself open, and I think Gregory Schneider felt, yep, got this one, took his foot off the gas. Jimmy Cibola hadn't read the script. He kept his foot to the boards, all gears forward, and he managed to invert Gregory Schneider's top roll so far that he was able to finish with his own tricep press. Great from the young Swede. Cibola gets on the board. He deserved it from the battle. We just saw him in prior to that, which he ended up losing, but wrestled so aggressively. Whoa! Anything you can do, I can do better. What a hit! Who expected that one from Gregory Schneider? You've seen me go top roll. How's this for a hook? The Frenchman shows his teeth. What an impressive athlete Gregory Schneider is. His technical diversity is ridiculous. He's a thinking, cerebral arm wrestler. Every single move he thinks through. He's tricking people. He's working his angles. He can wrestle in all positions, and he likes to prove that every time he comes to the table. Oh, great stuff. Cibola with a massive drive. And there's no doubt about it, the Swede is ridiculously strong. That wasn't technical, it wasn't pretty, it was brutality. He just blasted it to the pad. Gregory Schneider, for all his finesse, for all his technique, just could not deal with the fact that Jimmy Cibola was prepared to do anything to win that arm wrestling match. And that is exactly what he did. It's 3-2. This one is on a knife edge. Jimmy Cibola is a dog fighter. Fantastic. Just got straight in there with power. I think a little embarrassed that he'd been caught by Gregory Schneider in that last match with the tricky hook, which we didn't expect. And he just reversed it. As I say, maybe not with the same finesse that we've seen from the Frenchman in blue, but with aggression, intensity that you won't see matched by men. We go to the strap. Jimmy Cibola, 2 pins. Gregory Schneider, 3 pins. Sweden in green, France in blue. The match is hanging in the balance. This is the deciding pin of our main event at the Sports Cafe London. Haymarket Arm Wars Power Play.
Okay. Hard. Cool. Shoulder. Ready, go!
Huge strike from both men. How bad do you want this match, Jimmy Cibola? Can he hang on to that? The answer is no. Gregory Schneider with the top roll. Huge attack, and Schneider controls the hand and wrist from the off. And the Frenchman wanted that badly, didn't he? Look at that drive. Hits towards the pad. Cibola tries with the tri-press, but he'd given too much ground.
It was a very strong man. I got tired. I'm not really in form. But tomorrow, it's the left arm. I'm better. I will come back.
I'm happy to win against this guy because it's a young guy. He's very aggressive at the table, you know. And sometimes it's difficult for me to get the same aggressivity, you know. But I'm happy because I know that my experience makes the difference, you know. I'm happy on my wrist. I want to pull with him in the future because I think that Jimmy Cibola will progress in arm wrestling.
I am absolutely sure Jimmy Cibola will progress in arm wrestling, but any match that you pull gives you experience, and what an experience that will be for the young Swede. He pulled with a true technical genius there. Gregory Schneider on fire at Arm Wars Power Play, a masterclass from the Frenchman.